Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm doing my review of TNA Victory Road 2025. So the opening match was an impromptu 6-man tag where the system defeated Order 4, and this was quick for a 6-man tag but very action-packed. Didn't really have a dull moment at all. It made sense that this got added to the card, especially with the Bound for Glory Hardcore War match coming up soon. I liked that, I don't know, it kind of couldn't have gone either way. Like, it wasn't clear who was going to get the win compared to the majority of this card, which was really good. I like the fact that there was a lot of concentration on Dango or JDC as he's like the main guy coming back from injury here. Agent Zero looked really strong in defeat with it being his debut match. I feel like they might have given him the win, but the fact that they didn't, but he wasn't involved at all in the finish, made him look okay as far as going forward and still looking like a force. But overall, the match was fine, very quick, but it had implications maybe later on. It has implications for Battle for Glory, so it made perfect sense why it was put on the card here. And yeah, I've got no really complaints about this one. It was a good quick match. Following that, Ash by Elegance came out and vacated the Knockout Championship, which, you know, it's just the last thing TNA needed this week as far as the Knockout Championship goes, especially with the Masha Slamovich stuff, which I won't talk about at all. It's all alleged and speculation right now, so I'm not going to bother with it. So their answer to that was to do a impromptu battle royal. They cancelled the Women's Tag Team Championship match between the Elegance brand and the Inspiration, as they were in the battle royal. The battle royal that they had was pretty mediocre. It only had 8 to 10 participants, of which 6 of them were in teams. So you had the Inspiration, and Heather by Elegance, and the Angel Wings. Angel Wings? Yeah. So yeah, that wasn't great. Also, Jody Threat, Danny Luna, and some random woman was in it as well. And I say some random woman because I can't remember her name. And Tom Hannigan on commentary, who I know is Tom Phillips, even said who was that. So, you know, that looked great for that person. But for me, what didn't make sense here was Yaling Lee won the match, well, was in the final 2, which meant she got the title shot, even though she's number 1 in the gauntlet element, the Collie Shot Gauntlet for Bound for Glory. So if she won the Knockout Championship, she won't be able to be in that match, I assume, because she would be defending the championship, obviously, against Indy Hartwell. So it made whoever the second person was very clearly going to win the title tonight, which they did. But we'll get to that match in a bit. Personally, I would have had Danny Luna win the match, or at least be in one of the last 2, because I feel like she is due a push in TNA. I feel like she's been doing some really good stuff, and I've enjoyed the slow burn of a heel turn that she's had. And yeah, I feel like she's great in ring. I remember the match she had with Jordan Grace, where those two actually went out there and killed it, and they were like just had a random match. Plus, Danny Luna versus Kalani Jordan would have been an absolutely fantastic match in my opinion. Nothing against Xia Li or Yaelin Lee. It's just a case of, if she's got stuff going on for Bound for Glory, why have her win this match? But yeah, like, it just didn't make any sense. And then afterwards, when we got the 2 established for the final, we saw Lee and Jordan shake hands, like, for what will be the match later on, which makes no sense considering that TNA invaded NXT this week. Lee was part of the people that invaded NXT, but they're shaking hands now. Like, nothing about this was consistent with what happened on Tuesday, so it really frustrates me because the booking is not consistent at all, and the whole time I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? And yeah, I got all worked up about it, and it's still pissing me off now, to be fair. It doesn't make any sense at all why they decided to do this as I understand they've had to put something together last minute, but there's much better ways they could have gone about this. Following that, Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man defeated the Nemeth Brothers, and the match was okay. It was fairly average for a tag team match, nothing really special here. Probably should have been on Impact rather than a TNA Plus special. I really it's not the kind of match you really pay for. I mean, I assume some people did pay for this event, and for that I feel sorry for them because this event wasn't great. But yeah, it was, as I said, it was a fine match. It was a tag team match in the middle of the card. You know, it was, as I said, it really wasn't anything memorable. It was kind of funny seeing Matt Cardona and Nick Nemeth kind of go, like, interact with each other, considering that, like, 10 plus years ago it would have been Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder, and they were in a really intense feud. By far, this was the weakest match on the show. Or at least the weakest proper match. I'd say the Battle Royal was probably the weakest match, but proper matches goes, this was definitely it. Then it was taking away Hometown Man's mask after the match. I thought it was disgraceful. You never take away a man's mask when he's wearing it. It's law. It's law within Lucha Libre. You never take a man's mask. But yeah, the Nemesis losing here as well makes no sense, considering that they have a rematch for the Tag Team Championships coming up at some point. I assume it might be after Bound for Glory at this point. So the number one contenders for the tag titles just lost to a random tag team, of which one of them is a comedy character, and it's not Matt Cardona, before you say. So yeah, not a great look for the Nemesis here. It's good that Nick Nemeth didn't take the pin and it was Ryan, but yeah, no, all this just felt really random, and it made the Nemesis look really bad, and yeah, the match was just average at best, so not the best part of the show in my opinion. After that, we had Mike Santana defeat Ridge Holland. I was kind of hoping this was going to be a squash match where Santana just got rid of Ridge pretty quickly and that was going to be it. But it was a pretty decent match overall. Santana controlled for the most part, which I fully expected, but it was more competitive than I thought it was going to be. And to be fair, Ridge looked pretty good. I've seen him have a lot worse matches. I've seen him do much worse things to people. But yeah, I thought maybe this was some kind of proving ground match, like some kind of proof to NXT that he's okay again. He's kind of gone down to Evolve from NXT, even though he's had a match at WrestleMania. So yeah, so maybe it's some kind of showing NXT that he is like good again. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I said it kind of felt like a proving match. The top guy in TNA takes on Ridge, and Ridge looks pretty good. He can come back up to NXT again, maybe, or something. I hope that will make sense. But yeah, I feel like he got a great opponent in Mike Santana. Santana made him look really good here. But yeah, Santana was always going to win. He was never, ever going to lose this one. I had no doubts of the fact that he was going to get a W here. Trick Williams attacked Santana after the match, which makes perfect sense, leading up to their match at Bound for Glory. Yeah, so everything kind of served a purpose here. You got Mike Santana on the card. You got someone who can take a loss quite easily in Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland maybe looked good coming out of this as well. And you got to progress the story between Trick and Santana without going too far out of context and stuff like that. So yeah, everything kind of worked out here really well. So I've got no complaints. It just did feel really random, just like the last match did. Following that, we had Mustafa Ali defeat Moose in what was the best match of the night so far, though the bar for best match was pretty low at this point. But this was great. I thought the strength and power dynamic of Moose versus the technical and high-flying prowess of Mustafa Ali just is the perfect dynamic for a match. Power and strength, high-flying stuff always works in my opinion. These two did it very well as well. The counter wrestling was great throughout. The dynamic was absolutely spot on. The chemistry was all there. Mustafa Ali control for the most part. I'd probably say it was about 70% Mustafa, 30% Moose. There was a great flipping reversal into a spear that looked awesome, and it was so close to Moose didn't get the win there. The steel step bump that Moose took then into the 450, I thought was going to be it, but no, Moose he looked really good in defeat here. I feel like Mustafa did enough damage to Moose to kind of say that it was okay for him to lose here, and it didn't look like it was making Moose look weak, is what I'm trying to say. Tasha Steelz disguising herself as one of the dancers at the top of the ramp made perfect sense for them to get the advantage over the system for Hardcore War. It added to the story perfectly. Everything about this match worked really, really well, from the match to the storytelling to what it means going into Hardcore War and to Bound for Glory. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the match between Order 4 and the system at Bound for Glory. I feel like Hardcore War is a really good way to do it. You've got the two biggest groups in the company right now facing each other. So yeah, I've got zero complaints here. Everything worked out. Yeah, cannot say enough good about this one. After that, we saw Joe Hendry defeat Eric Young in what was a decent match. It was a bit stagnant at times, but it wasn't a bad match at all. It wasn't the worst match on the card. It wasn't the best card by any... it wasn't the best match by any kind of close margin. Hendry was in a headlock... Hendry was in a headlock into a sleeper for a while, but he lovely countered it into a suplex. Yeah, it was just a very lovely move just to see happen. Hendry controlled for the most part, probably 65 to 35. And yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel like this was just a cheap way to get Hendry onto the show, which makes total sense. I totally understand it with how popular he is. You know, yeah, this stuff with like TNA trying to slowly fade him out so he can go join NXT just makes perfect sense, especially when you see kind of the stuff he's doing here compared to what he was doing a few months ago in the main event scene. If I was going to nitpick, when Eric Young went for a pile driver, Joe Hendry took his chin way too early, and then he was supposed to sell it like a proper pile driver, and yeah, that didn't look great, but it was a fine match. It served its purpose, but I am curious to see where this whole cleansing thing leads with Eric Young. I feel like there's going to be some new debutants or maybe some returns. I feel like it has, to me, the feel of the PC... I can't remember it now. The PDC when James Storm brought in Eddie Kingston and somebody else. Oh, was it Tongaloa? It might have been Tongaloa. And they were part of the... No, it wasn't. It was Bram, Eddie Kingston, and James Storm as part of the Beatdown crew, something like that. I don't know. They did it a few years ago when TNA wasn't at its most popular. It has that kind of feel to it, in my opinion. But you know, do let me know what you kind of get from it in the comments below. I'm curious to see what people think this really is, especially after he broke up the Northern Armory, who did cost him this match. Hendry did cheat to get the win, but I don't feel like that matters massively, as the whole point of this match was to get a good pop out of the crowd by putting Hendry on the show. So after that, we had Matt Hardy defeat AJ Francis in a tables match. It was okay, seemed very slow, and it kind of went along slowly. It felt like it was a lot longer than it actually was. I feel like it should have been a lot better. I know that Matt was kind of selling his, like, being put through a table earlier in the night and that kind of stuff, but this felt especially slow from Matt. So, I know it puts more doubts in my mind towards the Bound for Glory match, which I know a lot of people are excited about. I feel like people aren't prepared for just how bad that match will probably be. Yeah, there's been a lot better tables matches. I suppose there's been worse as well, but this is one of the worst ones I've seen. The match, like having the stipulation was just to keep people's interest towards Bound for Glory. This felt very random. I didn't feel like, again, this should have been on a Plus event. It could have just been on an Impact and it wouldn't have been seen maybe as badly. Matt didn't look great, as I've said, maybe selling, but, you know, he just seemed very slow, very gassed out. You know, I get he's old and stuff and I understand that, but, you know, Francis was pretty much throwing himself around for Matt for the majority. Like, Francis was doing the majority of the work, making Matt look really good. I feel like this was just a way to get a Hardy on the show, just like it was the last match was trying to get Hendry on the show, which, again, I fully understand, but if you're going to do that, I probably would have had it earlier on in the night rather than have it later. So yeah, I feel like I'm hoping that this then leads into post Bound for Glory, where First Class win the World Tag Team Championships from either the Dudleys or the Hardy Boys. But yeah, no, just as far as a TNA Plus event goes, this really shouldn't have been on the thing, or if they did originally want this on the show, I would have put this way earlier on. Maybe even had this as the opening match leading from the pre-show to the main show. But yeah, this wasn't great. This was just okay. You know, tables matches are fun, and there were some good spots in there for AJ Francis. But he more or less carried the match. Matt didn't look great, and yeah, not a lot of good to say about this one. Following that, we had Kalani Jordan defeat Lei Ying Lee with Indy Hartwell as the special guest referee to become the new Knockouts champion. And yeah, this was a good match. I feel like they worked really well together. This was a lot better than I expected it to be. It was a fairly even contest. The last quarter was very nice as well, with some good back and forth towards the final sequence. There was great counter-for-counter wrestling in the middle of the match where they came to a stalemate and kind of restarted again, which I thought was really cool. I'm really glad that Lei Ying Lee is getting a good showing in TNA and on a regular basis as well. I feel like NXT/WWE really did fumble her and gave it like a really bad gimmick at first, but yeah, I feel like it's worked out really well in TNA, and I look forward to seeing what she does in the future. Indy Hartwell as a referee was absolutely fine. She called it down the middle throughout. She didn't take away from the match like some special guest referees do. I know that she was involved in the finish, but I feel like she recovered fairly quickly from what would have been maybe a signature from Kalani Jordan. I liked the back over from Kalani Jordan. She kind of I think like she did a cartwheel or a backflip into a back elbow. It was really, really nice. But also, she kind of did something else like that, and then Lee countered it into a crossface, which was very smoothly done. I very much enjoyed it. I like the aggression of Kalani Jordan in the final sequence of the match. She kind of showed that heel side, even though she's still a babyface. I enjoyed the finish. Kalani does deserve a major title right now. I feel like she is a former North American champion, but I feel like she probably would have been NXT champion at this. Well, NXT Women's Champion at this point, if it hadn't have been for such a stacked roster and people coming into the company so recently. Obviously, it's not the circumstances that TNA and probably she was looking forward to win this championship, but I feel like Kalani Jordan versus Indy Hartwell is going to be really good at Bound for Glory. It's a match I'm definitely looking forward to, though I feel like it's very, very obvious which way the match is going to go. But yeah, so the match itself here was really good. And yeah, Kalani got a really good showing. Lee had a really good showing. I'm glad that Kalani Jordan finally got that major championship. And yeah, as I just said, I very much look forward to the match at Bound for Glory between Indy and Kalani. After that, we saw Frankie Kazarian defeat Steve Macklin to become the new international champion, and this was another good match. Definitely the show went up in quality in the last quarter, with the last 3 matches were all very good. Kazarian as a unlikable heel is absolutely king here. I can't stand the guy, but I suppose that's the point of what he's doing. The match throughout had a slow, methodical pace, but I feel like that suits both men really well when it comes down to the basics of what they do. It is very slow, it is very methodical. I understand why people prefer this over some other wrestling. For me, it's not my kind of thing. It reminds me very much of like William Regal and Daniel Bryan kind of matches, which I wasn't a big fan of at the time. And yeah, I wasn't a bigger fan of this here, but I can appreciate when, like, even though it's not my style, when a match is going really well in someone else's style, which I feel like it did really well here. They were both countering each other really, really well. There was a point where like they couldn't really figure each other out for a while before Frankie Kazarian took over. The chicken wing submission is crap, especially Frankie Kazarian's. It looked incredibly loose. It looks like if Steve Macklin kind of turned to one side, he would quite easily escape. I'm glad it wasn't the finish for this match. Macklin cost himself the title, which I think is silly. I feel like he's been such a better champion than to have him get distracted by somebody on the outside, which was Macias. I think it's El Macias in AAA right now, but I know him as Judas Macias in TNA. But yeah, no, I said I wasn't surprised. I said in my prediction, that I wouldn't be surprised if Frankie Kazarian got the win. And I'm not. I fully expected this to happen, even though I didn't want it to. I am disappointed the fact that Kazarian is champion, but I suppose that's the point of him being a heel, is that I would be disappointed. But if they do El Macias or Judas Macias versus Steve Macklin at maybe Bound for Glory, I feel like that'd be a really cool match, and match that I feel like would work really, really well with the both hard-hitting kind of ways they go, but with the technical ability of Steve Macklin and the lucha libre of El Macias, I feel like would blend really, really well. I'm curious to see what Frankie Kazarian does at Bound for Glory with the International Championship. But yeah, overall, this was a good match. Bit of a disappointing result. Kind of disappointed with the booking of Steve Macklin here, because it feels like he's a better champion than to be distracted by somebody coming from the outside. But no, I can appreciate the fact that it was a good match overall, and as I said, I'm curious to see what Frankie Kazarian does with the International Championship. And finally, here in the main event, Leon Slater defeated Myron Reed to retain the X Division Championship, and this was a great match. These two complement each other so well. Everything looks so seamless between both. The similarities really helped each other throughout this match. I know that's like with the last match, it maybe didn't work as well, whereas here it worked very well. Having the two flippy guys kind of go after each other is something that's always really good. This had like a proper X Division feel to it, and I know like through tweets and social media stuff that a lot of people would agree with that. And yeah, it's just like a really good way to sum up the current day X Division, but compare it really well to the past days of the X Division with AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. The nip up from Myron Reed into the Utopia Slam from Leon Slater was really slick and just awesome to watch. The countering suplexes to then do it to the outside for Myron Reed to reverse it into a Stundog Millionaire was beautifully done. Both have awesome 450s, and yeah, I literally have nothing bad to say about this one. It was very, very well done. They definitely left the best to last with this show. show, which is always good when a weird show ends with a fantastic match. The X Division, in my opinion, is in really good hands under Leon Slater and the people he has surrounding him right now. After the match, we saw Santino Marella come out and he announced for Bound for Glory that it will be Leon Slater versus Javon Evans for the X Division Championship, and that match is going to be sick. I would watch it tomorrow if I could. I feel like it's going to be an absolutely exceptional X Division match because, you know, if Myron and Slater are so similar here, Javon Evans and Leon Slater are going to be like literally mirroring image of each other. I can actually see them doing like a similar thing to like the original Ricochet and Will Ospreay match, because I feel like people are going to hate it because it's too flippy. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like it's going to be a really entertaining match just to watch in general, and just the athleticism on show within that match is going to be so good. So yeah, it's a really great way to finish this show, and yeah, I can't say enough good about this one. They two went out there and absolutely killed it. They got given the main event, which I was very surprised about when it was announced, but they went out there and absolutely killed it, and I can't compliment this one enough. So those are my thoughts and opinions on TNA Victory Road 2025. Do put down in the comments below what you thought of the show and anything else about this that you really enjoyed, and what you thought of the whole knockouts division, kind of the title things, because I thought it was absolutely crap the way they handled it. But I'm curious to see what the match between Kalani and Indy is going to be like at Bound for Glory. But yeah, sorry if I sound really rough. I feel like I might be getting sick. I've been sneezing all night. I am recording this straight after Victory Road is finished, but this isn't releasing till Sunday. So right now, like, I'm worried about being sick going into No Mercy, but I don't know what's happened in No Mercy, even though you guys all do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that show. There is going to be coverage of that. There will be a review of that, I promise. But yes, I am curious to see what you guys thought of the show. For me, it was a weird show. Like, it really felt like it more like a special Impact rather than a TNA Plus special. I know that some circumstances that they couldn't control maybe affected the show more than they originally thought. But yeah, there was matches in here that maybe shouldn't have been on the show. There was decisions made that I don't really agree with, obviously. But also there were some great matches as well. Moose and Mustafa Ali killed it. Kalani Jordan and Li Ying Lee, I thought was a great match, even though it was very last minute, and the main event was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it was just a very bizarre show because it was a bit all over the place, but yeah, so do put down in the comments below what you thought of it all. Do like the video if you enjoyed it. Do sub and stick around. There is a lot of wrestling stuff coming up. There has been reviews for WrestlePalooza and All Out from last weekend on the channel already. There is obviously this review here, and tomorrow hopefully there will be a review of NXT No Mercy, as well as a tournament I'd like to see for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships, and some of the best matches from WWE PLEs over the last like decade at this point. I think the one I've just come out is 2014 or 2013. So do check that out on the channel as well. But yeah, do subscribe. There's lots of wrestling content coming over. I upload normally every day or every other day, so yeah, lots of stuff coming up. So yeah, do stick around, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.